In a significant shift in Western military support for Ukraine, leaders from France and Germany have publicly endorsed Ukraine's right to launch counterstrikes inside Russia in response to ongoing attacks from Russian territory. This development marks a crucial turning point in the international response to the conflict, potentially altering the dynamics on the battlefield. Statements from European leaders. French President Emmanuel Macron, speaking at a press conference alongside German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, emphasized that Ukrainian forces should be allowed to target Russian military bases from which attacks are being launched against Ukraine. Ukrainian soil is being attacked from bases in Russia, Macron stated at Schloss Messeburg in Germany. He argued that it was unreasonable to expect Ukraine to refrain from striking back at the sources of these attacks. Echoing Macron's sentiments, Chancellor Scholz reaffirmed that Ukraine has every right under international law to defend itself, stressing the need for adherence to the conditions set by the weapons-supplying countries and international law. Ukraine has every possibility under international law for what it is doing, Scholz mentioned, highlighting the complex legal and ethical considerations involved in such military decisions. The role of Western weapons. The discussions come against the backdrop of Ukraine's repeated requests to use Western-supplied weapons for strikes inside Russia, a strategy they believe could deter further Russian aggression. Previously, there has been a hesitancy among Western nations, led by the United States, to allow their supplied weapons to be used beyond Ukrainian borders due to concerns about escalating the conflict into a broader war involving NATO directly. However, the stance appears to be softening. Macron's comments underline a readiness to allow Ukraine to use weapons such as the Scalp cruise missiles capable of hitting targets up to 155 kilometers away to neutralize Russian military sites actively engaged in operations against Ukraine. These missiles, along with other advanced weaponry like the Caesar self-propelled howitzers, have significantly enhanced Ukraine's military capabilities. International and domestic reactions. The statements by Macron and Scholz have not gone unnoticed by Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin warned of serious consequences, highlighting the sensitivity of the escalation and its potential to involve smaller European countries more deeply into the conflict. Putin's remarks underscore the geopolitical risks of expanding the scope of the conflict and the delicate balance that European nations must maintain to avoid a broader confrontation. NATO's stance and the path forward. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg also weighed in, suggesting that it might be time for the alliance to reconsider the restrictions imposed on the use of donated weapons by Ukraine. This reflects a growing recognition within NATO of the need to adapt to the evolving dynamics on the ground, particularly as the front lines near areas like Kharkiv blur into the Russian border. The evolving policy positions of key NATO members and the alliance itself signal a potentially transformative phase in the Ukraine conflict. By allowing Ukrainian forces to engage Russian targets directly, Western leaders are recalibrating their strategies to address the realities of a protracted conflict that has seen continuous Russian aggression. As the debate continues and policies adapt, the international community remains watchful of the potential implications of these changes. The support for Ukraine to strike back represents a significant evolution in the collective Western strategy, aiming to restore balance and deter further Russian advances. However, the decision carries inherent risks, highlighting the ongoing challenges in managing a conflict that has broader implications for global security and stability.